Hey, this is some guy in Hawaii with a quick follow-up on the Clairvoyance video like I promised. I'm going to give you a quick overview on how I use the gun, different variants, how it works into the build, so you get some idea of how that works. Also, how the spreadsheet works if you're really interested, and a little bit of insight into some other stuff I'm working on. This is not my regular camera. This is my old iPhone camera because my regular web camera decided to quit when it found that I ordered a new one, and the new one is not here yet. But this one works out fine. Here you go. Okay, so I wanted to show you really quickly an example of some gameplay with the Clairvoyance and what guns I use and why and how. Normally I'll have something like this. I'll have a 390 and an ASE 100. Okay, I have the 390. This is for any time I'm running into enemies that have at least 2 health bars. Okay, it's usually a shield and a health bar. And so this is for basically when I first grasp them, and I can do maximum damage with ties that bind to everybody, including the primary. Okay. If for some reason this doesn't take them down, I can switch this over to finish them off. Okay. If I'm running into enemies that only have a single health bar, then I will normally use, where'd it go? This guy, which is an ASA 200. Now, interesting point I want to make here. All of these are M10s except for this guy. Okay, this true Clairvoyance is an M9, and he has a significant amount, a little less, raw damage. But the reason I actually prefer this, I think most of the time, I'll try and demonstrate both side by side. I'll do one and I'll do the other one, because this one the True has a 3.3 sight, which I prefer, and this has a 1.7. But it's situational. Okay, so
Shoot that one and thank me later.
I'm not going to even crank up the rush stacks. I'm just going to go right in. Boom, one shot. Tell. Oh, did I miss? I don't want the. Oh, no. This may take a bit. Nope. Okay, so that's how good that is. So let me swap this out with the True, which is the Mayhem 9 one. There we go. And it should do. I gotta wait for it to come back. We got a fire guy. Wow. Oops. There. That's more than enough. Might kill the Avengers. So this is the Mayhem 9 one. It's doing fine, even though it's not only Mayhem 9, but it's most importantly a lower damage weapon. So I say don't pay attention to the Mayhem level. Look at the actual stat. Okay. This guy of Frost.
I'm down for a brawl.
See, now I'm doing less damage. Switch over. The ASC. A little bit more. Don't I have another? Yes, I like my crits. Go for crits. So, yeah, that's how I use that. Now, you can use consecutive hits. You can do that, although normally if I do that I'm going to run a driver class mod, and I don't like to run it. I like to basically, I don't want to have to run around. I don't mind, but I've worked it out that I think I get more pure damage, even damage over time overall, by using a Phaserker build and rush stacks and maxing those out, okay, than I do from this, which caps out at 200%. So there, it's kind of up to you. I also forgot to add that part of the effectiveness of using these the way I've done it is I've also got Jacob's Weapon crit damage on this Phaserker, and I've got assault rifle damage and cryo efficiency on this artifact, so that helps obviously. If you want to go with the consecutive hits, obviously you can swap this out for the Pearl. Okay, so that'll up that even more. But again, I have found that just for me and the way I play, the Phaserker route works better. Okay, very quickly, the build, which is constantly in flux. Main things are obviously for this weapon, which is a cryo weapon, action skill damage, which is why I max out do harm, and I max out awakening, which ups the rush stacks, which ups the action skill damage up here. Okay. Additionally, what am I looking for? Again, elemental damage, which is the cryo. Done damage. This benefits from action skill ricochet damage. Okay. The reason I point these out is because I actually put a whole 5 points into the green tree. Most people would put maybe 3 in here, just into personal space. These are just fillers. I should probably move these around because I want the corrosion. Okay, I want Blight Tiger because, again, I just mentioned action skill damage, and damage that is transmitted via ties that bind, that's shared, that's action skill damage. Okay, I want the choice. If I play with enough, I may decide to do what a lot of people do and not go this far down. But right now, I like it. Okay, so I want to take a quick moment for the people who might actually be interested to explain how these spreadsheets work. You will notice up here that these column labels are a lot of missing letters because there's a lot that's hidden. Okay, if I show you what's hidden, what you see is you see all the formulas. Okay, these are for this particular trigger. These are all the modifiers right here. Okay, this is the name of the trigger. It's a master trigger, but it has modifiers to damage, rate of fire, accuracy, projectiles per shot, ammo per shot, accuracy, bloom, recoil height. Okay, I've also color coded these so that damage is orange, so I can spot them real quick. Reload is yellow, rate of fire is green, crit damage is red. Okay, so what happens is all of these have a cell address. This is for the masher. Remember, it's minus 58%, so times 0.42. Okay, lever action one is plus 10%. So when it is in use, it'll be multiplied by 1.1. That's plus 10%. For this particular set of combinations up here, because we're using the mass trigger, it just multiplies it by 1, which is, you know, whatever it was to begin with. Okay, but the idea is when you get down here to the actual figures, this is damage per projectile, it's a formula, and this one adds up all of the orange columns, okay, or orange cells from that row, okay, or multiplies them out. That's why all these cell addresses are all the orange ones right here in this row. Okay, base damage total just multiplies that by whatever is right here. This is for master, it's going to be times 4. Reload is the same thing. It grabs the yellow coded columns, multiplies those out, rate of fire, the green ones, and then crit bonus, very similar. And then one other minor point, over on the end here, I've got this variant code column. All this is this takes these codes I have, and it basically, what they call concatenates, puts them all together. Now what this does is provides a convenient way for me to sort and, more importantly, filter or look for a particular variant. What I do is I do the same thing over here on this spreadsheet, which is about almost every single clairvoyance I have ever encountered. Okay, the ones that are pink, I recorded the data and I dropped them. Okay, these aren't all up to date. I have to update these. But idea is, you see I've got variant codes here. I can take that code, copy that, go over to my master, and search for that, sort for that, do a find, and go, okay, that's what this one is, and I can see how it ranks with everything else. Okay, you don't have to do that. You can use the calculator I did before and get a feel for it the other way. But okay, that's how I use that. One last thing, just to give you an idea of some of the things I've been working on. Based on what I've done with the Clairvoyance and the Westergun, I actually want to start trying to put out more information in shorter form on various guns and gun part combinations. And you know, some guns have a large number of variants and some don't. Okay, so I started basically figuring out the parts for various guns that I can get easily, especially during some of these Loot the Universe events, that kind of stuff. So I've got data on the Hellshock, Wood Blocker if you care, Star Helix. I need to look at some more of those. Those are easy to farm though. Chaosin, I should get on that before the event is done. Maggie, which is really easy. I got a couple of DLC 2 guns here. where I'm figuring out all the possibilities, figure out what the stock parts are and how many there are, and then I'm going to basically put that information out. For example, this is a really super easy one, the Maggie. The Maggie, there's only 3 variants out there, and the only difference in parts between those 3 is the hammer, and only one of those parts has plus 5% to damage, which means at any given level, a Maggie will either be, you know, one thing or be 5% better. This is Mayhem 10 right here. 2167 versus 2275, and there are subtle differences in handling and I think reload speed. This guy has a higher reload speed, so which will affect DPS slightly. So that's what I'm working on, among other things. And that's it. Just a quick update. I'm probably going to hold off doing any more videos until after at least the Borderlands show, probably until after the next patch, when they rebalance stuff, just so the numbers don't get messed up. Okay. Thanks for watching.